Mr. Speaker, the federal government is shut down, thereby damaging America's economy generally and the Tennessee Valley's economy in particular, where thousands of defense, NASA, and other federal government employees have been furloughed because the President, in his discretion, designated them non-essential. I hope my remarks add clarity about the shutdown, its cause, and the efforts to fund the government. City, county, and state governments across America passed one bill called a budget that funds services for their fiscal years. In contrast, Washington uses a three-step spending process. First, Washington should pass a bill that is called a budget, yet does not, in fact, spend a dime. Rather, in Washington, the word budget is more like a game plan. It is much like a football coach's playbook. It lists the team's plays, but does not, in and of itself, gain a single yard. Second, Washington should pass authorization bills that describe the programs the federal government is to operate. For example, the NASA authorization bill authorizes NASA to work on the Space Launch System so that America can have a human spaceflight program. Like budgets, authorization bills spend no money. Third, Washington must pass appropriation bills to actually spend money on the programs authorized. If Congress fails to pass appropriation bills, then Congress uses continuing resolutions as crutches for our failure. There are 12 appropriation bills that collectively fund the federal government. So far this year, the House, months ago, passed appropriation bills for national defense, energy and water, homeland security, military construction, and veterans affairs. If the Senate passes these appropriation bills, then each of these federal programs are fully funded and exempt from the federal government shutdown. That's correct, exempt from the shutdown. Unfortunately, the Senate inexplicably refuses to vote on any of the 12 appropriation bills. Senate intransigent is why we are here today debating a continuing resolution to temporarily fund the federal government. For emphasis, continuing resolutions are the worst way to fund the federal government. By definition, continuing resolutions are for a short period. Speaker Boehner's CR is for 2.5 months. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid's CR is for even less, 1.5 months. Each CR kicks the can down the road and forces America to quickly face yet another shutdown risk. Each CR means federal agencies cannot plan long-term, and contracting officers are restricted in their ability to let contracts for services and goods provided by the private sector to the federal government and American citizens. Generally speaking, continuing resolutions fund at prior year spending levels, which means spending does not change to reflect changing priorities, circumstances, and challenges. In sum, continuing resolutions are inherently inefficient, waste tax dollars, and retard proper federal government operation. Hence, I have historically voted against less than year-end continuing resolutions in hopes of forcing Congress to do the compromising necessary to pass authorization and appropriations bills. This work will not be done so long as the continuing resolution crutch protects Congress from failure. Which brings us to today. The Senate, White House, and Congress agree on roughly 99% of the appropriation bills. Let me emphasize that. The Senate, White House, and Congress agree on roughly 9% of the appropriation bills. The solution, therefore, to our impasse is simple. Congress and the White House should fully fund the 99% we agree on, end the government shutdown, and work out our differences on the remaining 1%. Instead, the Senate and White House use a federal government shutdown to coerce the House of Representatives into spending money America does not have on a socialized medicine program that does not work and that a majority of Americans do not want. Yesterday I spoke with House leadership, and I urged them to pass bills that, one at a time, fund the 99% of the federal government that we agree on. I thank the House leadership for doing exactly that yesterday and today. Each bill we pass exempts yet another part of the federal government from the shutdown. I urge my friends across the aisle to stop using the 99% as a hostage, to stop punishing citizens across America in their effort to coerce the House of Representatives into funding the 1% we have a legitimate disagreement on. I urge my friends across the aisle to join us, to join America, to compromise, yes, to compromise, and pass as many funding bills as we can to minimize and eliminate the harmful effects of a federal government shutdown. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.